This episode of the podcast is brought to you by our partner, Audible.
Yes, it is. So we are partnered with Audible. That means that if you are looking just to check it out, you don't want to put your card in and just take the dive. You can get 30 days for free on us. If you go to audibletrial.com/JATG or click the link down below, you'll be taken there. You can sign up for 30 days for free and just test it out. Like there's a lot of stuff on there that you can get for free, a lot of Audible exclusives. But what I really like about Audible is that out of the hundreds and thousands of audiobooks that they have, if you decide to purchase something, that is yours forever. Like if you decide not to carry on your subscription or you want to take a break or whatever it is, you can always go back and listen to that book whenever you want through the app on the internet. Doesn't matter because it's yours. So once again, you can get that for 30 days for free on us if you go to audibletrial.com/JATG. Is my mug on there?
Your mug is on there. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Johnny and the Greg again. Here we are, first of the year, Greg. First of the year, and wow,
season 7.
Yeah, and wow, didn't I get a nice little surprise that I did not expect?
I think all of us were shocked. Yes.
Yeah. If you don't know, we are talking about the Chicago Bear game and the Green Bay Packer game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So give me just a second here.
Yeah. This is actually a first time on our show.
I'm a man of my word. I live up to my bets.
6 seasons in a row. This is the first time this has ever had to happen. That's actually a good looking hat for a Bear fan.
Yeah,
I understand Green Bay people don't like it. I get it. Greg, let's get your thoughts before we get mine.
Oh God. My thoughts about the game.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was we were wrought with injuries. So there was that. I mean, I'm trying not to make excuses because I don't think we played well overall anyway. A lot of factors, like they said that was the coldest game that anybody on the field had ever played in.
Oh,
like,
really?
The players, yeah.
Wow.
Because I think it was like 9 degrees or something like that, and they're like,
Okay.
it hasn't been this cold for a Packer Bear game, or like any, like it just hadn't been that cold, and they're both youngish teams.
Yeah,
I would say.
Yeah.
I don't know how old. I know the Packers are very young. I don't know how young the Bears are, but they're like, yeah, this is the coldest game, professional NFL game that these guys have ever played in. So everybody, I think, was feeling it a little bit.
Of course.
But yeah, it just it was two teams that I was watching. I'm like, what are they doing? What are they doing? And
it was a really odd game.
Yeah. Just
if it seems
odd,
like there's quite a delay, folks, people can't. Greg hears me about a second to 2 seconds. We're waiting for the stream to catch up, but so just bear with us with that.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
All right, so go ahead. I'm sorry, Greg.
It was just it was a weird game to watch. I wouldn't call it an exciting game at all until like the last 4 minutes of the game. And yeah, Bears. I was like, well, this is it. I even text you. I'm like, this is it. You're like, no, they're Packers are going to march down the field and score, and they did. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I guess they're going to win the game that I don't think they really deserved to win, and then they didn't. You're just like, my son had friends over and they were all showing up, and I'm like on the edge of my couch. I'm like, holy shit, this is going to happen. This is actually going to happen. like it hasn't happened in so long. And yeah, it was just like, there it is. Okay.
Yeah. So, okay. I have been dying for the Bears to beat the Packers. And this kind of feels like the entire time I watched the game, up until I saw the refs at the end hold up their like say it was good,
Yeah.
I didn't think the Bears were going to win whatsoever. I didn't get excited for any play that the Bears made, and I didn't get excited for any play that the Packers made. I didn't get excited. I was just sitting there watching this because
Yeah.
it feels hollow. It feels like
Yes.
to me that for I'm just speaking for a Chicago Bear fan. It feels to me like we scored a touchdown in a 42 to nothing ball game with a minute left
Yeah.
and we're the only one that scored. Like it's almost it feels like an empty victory, and I get it. Look, we we broke the streak of 11 consecutive times we lost to the Packers. Caleb Williams became
Yep.
the first Bears quarterback since Jay Cutler back in 2015 to beat Green Bay in Green Bay, and I thought he was okay, and then he was amazing, and then we won, and I was like, and I remember Ursula and Gwen gave me a hug, and I was like, I don't care. Like, I don't care. What is this? I don't care. Like, I mean, because it doesn't mean anything. Green
You're
Bay's
like,
playing
thanks,
next week.
guys.
Yeah, Green Bay's playing next week.
Yeah.
It, I guess, I guess I could sit there and say in a funny way, the Bears are undefeated so far in the year 2025. That's all I can say.
Sure. Yeah. And
I
it'll
mean,
be that way until
yeah, it'll be that
regular
way
season.
until the
So
regular season. So, so overall, they won. Yay. I don't really feel a relief. Marshall, one of our good friends, texted me and said, "Wow, what a finish." I think he was really excited. I wasn't.
yeah.
I was like, I didn't respond to him. I just kind of, like I said, it just feels like it's like celebrating a touchdown when you're getting killed 42 to nothing.
Hmm.
It just doesn't matter. It's so,
And I get
um,
that. I
yeah.
mean, it I don't want to call it a hollow win because I mean, you could tell by the end of the game, it meant a lot
Oh,
to those
that
Bears
look, the
players.
one thing I will say was the Bears played. Like
Yeah.
they gave it everything they got. And you're right, Greg. We lost or you lost Watson, who by the way is a superbly freaky
Yep.
athlete that is the most fragile guy I've ever seen in a Packer uniform.
Yeah.
That guy seems to get
He's
hurt all
all
the
the time.
time.
Yeah. So
Um,
I mean, we had some other people out.
yeah.
Love went out
We and
like
then I
beginning
started
of the game.
Yeah. And then I started noticing that there were being all these backups being put in. And
Yeah.
so that's another thing that makes me go, yeah, we didn't really beat. I mean, look, we have a mash unit too. So it's not like all of our stars were playing and everybody else's weren't. I mean, our offensive line, I think this is in 3 years. Think about this, Greg. In 3 years, this is the 80th offensive line combination for the Chicago Bears.
Yeah. Yeah.
80th. Wow.
And I mean, it's a weird week of football
Mm-hmm.
anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you saw the Chiefs game,
Oh yeah, they
but
got
I
demolished.
only saw this. I saw the score of the Chiefs game, and I had to go, well, what the hell happened there?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, Denver beat the crap out of them,
Yeah.
and then I found out I'm like, oh, the Chiefs didn't play any of their starters or
Nope.
hardly any starters
Not a one.
because
And
they're
also,
like,
not only that, Denver needed it. Kansas City didn't.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and that's kind of how I felt a little bit with the Packer game, where
Yeah.
like they know they're playing next week.
Mm-hmm.
Love got a little dinged up, and so they're like, we're not going to chance it. Like
Yeah.
whatever that is, keep him out. Like, well, he came back in the fourth quarter for a couple plays.
He did. I didn't see him.
I thought he did, or they had him warming up,
They had him warming up.
or
Yes.
maybe that was it, and then he
Yeah.
didn't come back. But they
Yeah.
had him like warming up like he was gonna come back.
Yeah.
Um, and but at the same time, I'm like, why? Like we know we're playing next week. We don't know who we were playing next week yet.
Right.
And I mean that there had to be the mathematical combination of stuff needed to happen
Mm-hmm.
to
Mm-hmm.
figure out who we're playing, and we're playing the Eagles, and
Yes.
I think that'll be the end of our season.
At the
Um,
Eagles. Yeah, that's going to be a
yeah,
rough one.
yeah, like
Yeah.
there's even if McCaffrey were to come back and be healthy and be ready to play, or
Who?
I'm sorry, Watson.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Um, even if he came back, I would be like, okay. I I don't. There are a lot of sports people who are like the Packers are the underdogs to win the Super Bowl, and I'm like, really? I don't see it this year.
You know me, Greg. I've never really I don't give you a hard time about your Packers. In fact, I think I've talked more glowingly about your team than I've
Yeah,
ever talked about mine.
you do, and I don't know why.
Yeah, but I've never been that guy. I'm never that guy to give
Yeah,
somebody a call and go, ah, fuck you, you suck. I am not that
that's
guy.
true. Yeah, and there's no point.
Um, so I think what's really weird about your team is they're 11-6 now. They're 11 and
Hmm.
6 and they're 1-5 in the division. And that seems, I mean, look, I get it. The NFC North is a fucking juggernaut.
It's a
So I
powerhouse.
understand it.
Yeah,
Yeah. So, but the fact that you're not like 500 in the division,
right.
that would worry me as a Packer fan because that's who you're going to face in the playoffs. Like,
Yeah,
I, I don't think you're a good team going in there. And anything
no.
can happen in the playoffs. It's weird. It's like it's the second
Hmm.
season, all of a sudden shit starts on fire. But I don't feel you guys are going in there with any real sense of momentum.
There's no head of steam. Yeah,
Yeah,
none.
yeah.
Um, and there's this woman I started following. She's Agar, is it Agar? I think Annie Agar, whatever her name is. She does bits on Instagram where it's like, okay, let's do the roundup, and she's playing the
Yes, the
each
different
team.
people. Yeah.
Yeah, and she's actually got a sports podcast. She knows what she's talking about. But she happens to be a Packer fan. So like after the Packer game, I was just scrolling through Instagram and I saw her post, and she was ripping apart like the coaching decisions.
Oh, is
Like,
she?
why did we do this? Why did we run another end around like a 3rd and 8? And like getting into like the some of the nitty gritty about football that I don't even track.
Yeah.
Um, but even she was like, LaFleur did not show up today. Like he didn't show up like he was coaching a playoff team.
What I didn't understand, they threw up a graphic, and I was watching it, and this seems
Yeah,
to happen all the time when I'm watching a Bear Packer game. As long as LaFleur's been there, you guys have torched us with running.
yeah,
And you don't continue to do it. Like to me, there was no point in Malik Willis throwing a football. We couldn't
yeah.
stop you like
Hmm.
running the ball. I never understood that, but he seems to do that all the time. The game that you and I went to at Lambeau, I think 2 years
Hmm.
ago now, they were averaging 8 yards a carry and they stopped. They
Yeah,
just kept throwing. I was like, what the hell are they doing? But I mean, I was happy, but I was like, well, I don't understand this. But I still look. I'd rather trade places. I'd rather be in the playoffs next week. And
sure.
you know, for those just real quick for those people out there, I don't know if we have any Pittsburgh Steeler fans that listen to us. If you're one of those Pittsburgh Steeler fans where for the last 20 years you've never had a losing
Right.
season and you want this coach gone, it,
The perspective on that is weird. Like, and we've talked about that even from the Packers' perspective. Like, we
yes,
think if if we miss the playoffs, we're calling for somebody's blood. Like it is
yeah,
because we always make the playoffs,
right,
always.
yeah,
And I think the 2 3 years I remember of us not making the playoffs, it was like worst team ever.
yeah,
Oh my gosh!
yeah, yeah.
And I'm
And if
like,
we're
eh,
like, hey, we're 8-9, guys, all we need is just a good line
yeah,
here and we're good. Like
but,
so yes, there are levels to expectations for sure. Um I but oh, one other thing I want to talk about. What do you think about and I know you don't watch him every week, but what did you think of Caleb Williams for the two games you watched him because the Bears versus the
um, well, I watched them all through the preseason. I watched, like if the Bears were playing
right,
and the Packers weren't, I would usually tune into the Bears game. Um, he's he's a rookie quarterback. Now I think he's good. He's
mm-hmm,
got a lot of I think he's got a lot of learning to do.
I agree,
Um, he would be a guy that if he were drafted into the Packers, they would have benched him for 2 or 3 years and just had him develop until it would have been his time to come out. And I think he would have dominated, that like if they did that Packers way of developing quarterbacks,
right,
but he didn't get drafted to the Packers. He got put on the Bears where they're
right,
like, we put whatever rookie quarterback we have front and center, you're leading, go do it.
yeah.
Um,
Um, there's a narrative out there that he's a bust. And I just find,
Really?
yeah, I find that very interesting considering, and I did it right before this game, right before like our podcast here. I put down the stats of the who's probably going to win Rookie of the Year. And that would be the
Yeah.
Jaden Daniels, the guy in Washington. All right.
Hmm.
His stat line follows as this, and I'm not going to go through everything. I'm just going to go through completion percentage, 69%. His passing yards is 3,568. He has 25 touchdown passes, 9 interceptions.
Okay.
Good for a rookie.
Yeah.
Caleb has 61.9 completion percentage, 3,541. So a 20, maybe a
Hmm.
18-yard difference there. He has 20 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Now, what I want you to add into this is Caleb did all of this being sacked the third most ever by a quarterback,
Yeah.
with 3 offensive coordinators and 2 head coaches.
Hmm.
Okay. I don't know how you look at this and think this guy's a bust. Now, I'm not
Right.
saying he's the best ever. I'm not saying
No.
he should be Rookie of the Year. I am just arguing the fact that no way is this kid a bust. There's
No.
just
No.
no
I
way.
don't. I don't think. I mean, I think he's not a bust. He is a good quarterback working with the tools that he has available to him. And like, and we talked about this during the draft. I mean, if you're the number one draft pick, I mean, it was just you're going to the Bears. I mean, they could have anybody. You're Caleb. You're going to the Bears. That's
Yeah.
just what it's going to be.
Yeah.
Um, and they're going to make you their franchise player at least for a year. Like you're the guy. And I think that's no, I don't think he's a bust. I just think
No.
he's in dire need of to be in a decent program.
Right.
Like
Exactly. Exactly.
like I wonder because like the you heard about the chants that were like coming through as people were leaving Soldier Field, sell the team, sell the team,
Yes.
sell
Yes.
like all that stuff. I wonder if they're still saying that even after a win because today was uh McCaskey. What's her first one? Whatever her name is. It's her 102nd birthday today.
Yeah.
What the hell? I mean,
Yeah.
and she
There was something kind of magical to that if you want to be a little, I don't know. What's the word
is
I'm looking for, Greg, with that?
hopeful. If you want to be
Well,
hopeful,
not
there's something
whole.
magical about it. No, but she's run the team into the ground. I mean,
No,
like,
she hasn't. She's never run it.
but she's well,
She's
you're right under her ownership though.
under her son's ownership.
I thought she still had controlling stake in the team.
You know what? I don't know anymore. If we're breaking it down like that, I just know her son George McCaskey is the chairman of the board that
Yes, yeah.
leads.
So
So,
I think she still owns the majority stock of the team.
oh, I'm sure she
Like
does.
like
Yeah.
she's like more
Yes.
than 50%.
Yes.
So
Yes. 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 I don't a hundred 102, and she can walk. She doesn't need a cane.
mhm.
She's obviously a little slow, um but from what I understand, she's still sharp as a whip. Um
Yeah,
and so God bless her, dude. Whatever you're doing, it's working for you. So hey, before we go completely off, I want to hit some of these things, but I want to
yeah.
talk to you about, do you think you want to live to 102? Right.
Not
Hold that thought.
okay.
So
Okay.
we got cousin Clay, creepy guy here following women.
Yeah, he's
Okay.
talking about me following
Got it.
Abby Hagar or
He
whatever.
looks like a guy running for his life, but mentally, I think he's odd. I think you're odd. He'd be even better if he had an O line to protect him. Yes, that's absolutely true. Did the Patriots mess up getting the number one pick or something today? Yes, the Patriots won today, which kicked their butt. Which actually their head coach got fired right after the game.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
The
So
Patriots head coach got fired after he won a game.
Patriots after he won the game, and because I think it kicked him out of first
Oh,
round. They didn't get the first round pick. But looking at this draft, I think he's right. I don't think anybody wants the pick. I like
yeah.
there's nobody coming in this draft where everybody's like, I
Mm.
gotta have that, and there's not really somebody like that. Johnny doesn't know how to read people's comments. He doesn't understand people. Okay.
Sure
Um.
thing. Um, yeah,
So 102.
hold on.
Yeah.
Um, I texted you after that quarterback sack when I mean it was just like it just completely
Oh,
blindsided.
where
What's his name?
Malik Willis got
Yeah.
sacked. Yes.
Uh I mean he got hit, like he got hit. He got rocked. And at first I was I mean, yeah, the Packers screwed up. It was a blown play. He had no backside protection and
Front side.
frontside protection. There was nobody there to be his blocker and just came right in, popped him, knocked him down. I've seen flags thrown for that kind of sack for the past 2 seasons.
Are you sure they
And
were in the process of throwing the ball? He wasn't throwing the ball. Like he didn't even cock
right,
back.
he didn't.
He was
Right, he didn't.
this. Boom.
I I was under again, and I'm not saying it was a bad hit. I'm not
No, no,
blaming
I know
anybody
you're
on the
not. I
Bears.
know you're not.
It was just it was fun. I mean, it was my guy, so kind of like, oh, but it was still kind of fun to see that kind of contact in football again.
Yeah.
And maybe that was the thing that I just haven't seen because anytime a quarterback gets hit now, it seems like there's a flag in terms of like a open field, boom, made impact kind of hit. Most quarterback sacks are just like grab on and like drag
Yeah.
them to the ground or
Yeah.
throw them. I mean,
Yeah.
there's no hits like that.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. It almost seemed like there should be a flag because that was too violent. Like back like
Yeah,
in today's football, you
it
could
seemed that way, and I was like,
yes, yes.
oh, now he popped up right away. Like he
Yeah.
was like, I'm okay, but
Yeah. Um
yeah, that was interesting.
yeah, yeah. Sister Jean is 105. Sister Jean is I
Loyola.
believe she's an okay, so everybody knows who Sister Jean is. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. She's a
She's this.
fan though. She doesn't own anything. She's just a fan of
Well,
the team.
she's an alumnus. She
Yeah.
works at the
Yeah.
college.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's just a major player. She shows up to everything.
Do
You know
you
that
do you, do you want to live that long? Does anybody want to
now.
live to 105?
I guess it really depends. Like unless my body makes like a turnaround and I'm like really spry and in my 90s, not especially. Like
Yeah, I can tell already. And look, I'm trying to do more stretching and flexibility stuff than I've ever done in my life before. And I'm still making those grunt noises when I
yeah,
pick up something or I'm
like
getting off the couch. I
I've
don't
had a
think it's going to be pretty when I'm 70.
I've had a thing in my neck, like neck and back here for about a week. It's
Yeah.
just pinched. And I'm like, if
Slept
that's
wrong on it.
oh, who knows? I mean, it's just
Yeah.
I think it's just stress from the past week. But whatever it is, I'm like, if I gotta deal with that like into my 90s and hundreds, then I don't think so. I mean, my
Yeah.
grandpa just passed away on Christmas Day, actually, and like he was 93.
Yeah.
And Gramps was getting around pretty well, but at the same time, he wasn't. He was, even cognitively, he was starting to struggle with like some of the day to day stuff. And yeah, I guess I don't really want to do that. So if it's that kind of decline and you're 105, like Sister Jean seems to be doing pretty well. Um, but if I'm going that route, the route of like declining for 20 years, no thanks.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course, that makes sense that it would depend on where you're at. Because the
Yeah.
last thing you want to do is be 105, you're sitting in a hospital bed. Like you don't want to
Yeah.
go that route. But if you're 105 and you're walking to see your favorite basketball team,
Good for you. And
yeah,
like
yeah.
as he's shown on here, his grandpa's in his 90s, bowls numerous times a week, goes golfing a lot. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Like,
that's probably why he's still able to do it. Like
yeah,
that's a big thing, and I think it's funny too because our lifestyles have become completely sedentary.
yeah.
Like we're sitting on chairs, we're on computers, we're in
Mm-hmm.
cubicles, we're driving there, we're going to the drive-throughs. Like we never go do like Greg. Let me ask you a question. I'm not trying to pick on you, or I'll just ask you entire like how many of your family right now go out and take a walk for an
Right.
hour?
Not many.
Yeah. So I,
I've got I've
you
got
know,
one person in my family that's starting to because she's planning for a trip
okay.
to a much higher elevation in the world than
Ah,
where she's at now. And I'm like, babe, you're gonna want to train for that
yeah.
because you'll be walking around an art museum and you might be out of breath because Even at
The
the base
elevation.
level, they live at a higher elevation.
Where?
Nepal.
Nepal. That's right. Okay.
Nepal.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I thought you said DePaul. I was like,
No,
I was like,
not Minnesota.
Greg, I'm not sure. Not sure it's that elevated
No, no,
there,
no,
buddy.
no. Nepal, as in like the country.
Yeah.
So
Um, yeah, yeah. What were we talking about? Oh, yeah. So our
yeah,
sedentary lifestyles,
but
like,
mostly
so
sedentary. Yeah.
yeah, you have to
Hmm.
move. You have to. I think, that whole, what is it? A Rolling Stone gathers no moss.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anywho,
Oh,
Greg,
okay.
how much you like snow?
Not really. Like
Yeah.
I'm not a fan. I mean, I don't like
Like,
driving in it. I
yeah,
don't like. I'm at an age where if I want to see snow, like when I retire and like move somewhere else, if I want to see snow, I want to go to it. I don't want it to come to me.
that's a good. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna get hammered, I think, starting midnight here, and it's gonna go
Oh
all the
yeah.
way till noon or 1 o'clock tomorrow. And there's nothing worse than a Monday.
Oh, Monday snow. Yeah.
God, and look, this is what I have to do. I have to usually get up at 4
Hmm.
to get to my work at 5. I'm gonna have to get up at 3:30 now because I have to brush off the snow. I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to warm up my car. I don't know, I might have to shovel a little bit in the morning
Yeah.
just to
I mean,
clear the runway for Ursula later on. Um, I There's nothing worse than this. And then I have to
yeah.
drive through it and I don't know about you, I hate driving in the snow. I'm not confident
Hmm.
in it. I have a car that can get me through it, but now I'm worried about everybody else. And
Right.
then I just hate driving through a snowstorm. If snow already fell, I have no issue. But
Yeah.
driving through a
During
snowstorm,
where it's just
yes,
keep getting worse and
I
worse and worse
just,
throughout the day.
there's
Yeah.
just nothing worse. And I try to have a good attitude about it, and I can't.
Yeah.
I'm bitching and moaning the entire time I'm driving.
I'm lucky in that like I've had one bad snow day of driving into my job, and I got there and they're like, "Why are you here?" And we've got an all staff meeting today. They're like, "Yeah, don't do that again. Like you can dial in for that. Like it's not that big a deal."
But
And I
not
was
only that,
like, "Oh,
that
okay,
also that would upset me. Like if I put myself through some sort of, and look, guys, I understand we're not, our this is almost like a what would you call this? A a a one percenters worry in the world
oh
driving through
sure,
snow.
yeah,
But I I would be so pissed if I went through all that with the snow and then what are you doing here? I'd
yeah."
be like, man, fuck you, man.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, they were certainly appreciative that I showed up, but they were like, "Yeah, you don't like," because I drive the furthest for anybody in my department, and so they were like, "Yeah, you don't have to do that again." I'm like,
yeah,
"Well, good." I mean, but it was something I felt like I had to go in for that day, and it took me
yes,
an hour and a half to get to work.
yes.
And I said, "And I'm leaving early so that I
Hmm.
can get home at a decent hour." Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I don't know, it was more time with me and my book. But you're right about the vehicles, though. Like, I don't have a 4-wheel drive
Oh, okay.
vehicle
So that's rougher.
or an all-wheel drive, so that was, that's a little bit of a thing. Like, if I am in those kind of conditions,
Yeah.
and you're right, I worry more about the other guy than I do about me. Because I've got on my way to work. I mean, if I don't understand guys that have giant pickup trucks when you work in an office. Like they want the pickup for the aesthetic, the look, whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, you work in an office and you live in town. Like I don't know what you're hauling that requires that. But they will come flying by you,
Oh, yeah.
at whatever speed,
Yes.
or they're going to pass you on
Yes.
like this totally snow covered road when you're doing what is the safe speed, and they're like, "Brr." I'm like, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
visibility is really low. Like
Yep.
you can't even see who's coming.
Not only that, look, I get you get a big truck, but stopping, you're still gonna slide, man.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's not.
All four wheels are going to slide on
Yeah.
snow and
Yeah.
ice.
Yeah.
Like maybe you'll
Marshall,
get out of the ditch faster.
to answer your question, Marshall, how much am I expecting? They said 3 to 5, so I'm guessing I'm guessing 4.
Yeah. Do you
Uh,
get hit? I mean, you're pretty far away from the lake though. So do you get lake effect at all or?
it looks like what we're getting is lake effect,
Oh,
but
really?
I'm actually shocked by that. But it does look like it's lake effect because I was looking at the radar, and that's another
Hmm.
thing I've noticed as I'm getting older. I get interested in the weather. That
Yeah.
it's the weirdest fucking thing.
Hmm.
But so you start. I just God, it's just gonna piss. I'm already mad. Like I'm already
Yeah.
mad, and I have to go to bed mad. Like, because you wake
Yeah.
up and it's like it's so defeating. The garage comes up, the wind hits you, and you just
And just
see
like,
white everywhere. Yeah, and you're just
yeah.
like, you know. So, and my daughter tomorrow, she's gonna be all over the moon about snow. I love.
Yeah.
She's gonna be freaking out about it, and I'm just gonna be
Do
like, yeah,
you
it's snow.
do
Yeah.
you shovel like you hand shovel like no matter what, or do you have a machine that helps you?
I have a machine that helps me. I never use it
Yeah.
because it tends to it again, this would depend on the snow. Like if it's wet, heavy snow, that thing
Yeah.
that's supposed to help me, it gets clogged up in there.
Okay.
And then so I'm just like, all right, you know what? I'll just shovel it with my hands. Because a big part of me is also like, keep moving,
Yep.
don't, you know, keep moving. This is actually good for you. If you feel like you need to take a break, go take a break. But
That's good for you because you work out on a regular basis.
yeah,
For me, that hasn't done that in a while,
rough.
like wet, heavy snow, I'm like, I'm gonna die. Like I
Yeah.
feel like my arm's gonna fall off, or like it
Well,
is a workout.
you're cautious too because you don't want to lift with your back, right? Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
Yes.
Like, and I'm trying to do all that, but that starts to fall apart when you
Of
get
course.
tired
When you get fatigued
because
and
I
yeah.
mean, snow shovel, like a shovel full of snow, that wet, heavy stuff, you're talking anywhere from 40 to 60 pounds per
Yeah.
shovel load
And don't you
multiple
you're on a
times.
slope,
Yep.
right? So that's
Yep.
even harder
I'm on a
sometimes.
slope. I like, I've had I'd say 4 foot, 3 to 4 foot at the end of my driveway where the snow plow just like,
Plow
yeah, just
barricades
plows
you.
it right
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't do it. Like,
Yeah.
and I've got a 2 stage snow blower that, it's the machine that I'm like, this is why you were invented. This is your
Yes.
purpose. So,
Yes.
and it might clog up. I spray like almost like a Teflon coating in there to try to get it to like not stick, um, stuff like that. But yeah, I will do whatever I can. And
To
there's always a
not.
little bit of shovel, but,
Yeah.
and there is a point, like there was one, I think the year I got the snowblower, I'm like, we didn't get enough snow for me to go, I'm not firing that thing up. Like I can handle this. It's fine.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, there's a certain point where I just go, nope, nope, this is the machine's job. So
Yeah. Yeah. So it says here, Sean says I have a Ford Focus, not a winter car. And then
yeah,
he said, no, that is definitely not. I don't,
nope,
I'll be honest, I really look, maybe I'm being completely naive here, and if you live in Wisconsin and I've seen your roads, it's not like you have these lights. So like if you're traveling on the highway, you can slide into a ditch and you're there in the dark in the
right.
woods.
Yep.
And I don't know why you wouldn't have some sort of a Jeep. Am I an idiot? Do I think Jeeps
No.
are the end all be all with snow? Like,
Well, yeah, I'm not a big Jeep fan,
okay.
but an SUV in general,
Okay, yeah, something
an
with four by
all-wheel drive,
four. Yeah, and I get it. No, but not everybody can
they're
afford it.
fucking expensive. So
Are they though?
that's
Are Jeeps?
yeah.
Because
I
I
mean,
tend to
for
see young people with them, and I can't. And I keep thinking that I can't see how they afforded a.
they buy them used because they fall apart. Like Jeeps are one of the most. I mean, and I'm not saying this from my personal opinion.
Yeah.
This is like Consumer Reports,
Okay.
Popular Mechanic, like Car and Driver thinks a Jeep is one of the most unreliable
Oh, really?
vehicles
Okay.
like
Didn't know.
that they make. I mean, it's not a good ride. Like I've driven like my wife's family, they were into Jeeps for a really long time. And so I would ride in them. Sometimes I'd borrow one to do something with.
Yeah.
I'm like, these they drive bad, they ride bad. I've never been a fan of them.
Okay.
Um, my neighbor is a mechanic, he's my mechanic. And so like
Yeah.
I was talking to him, I'm like, hey, because we're getting to a point where I'm about to have 4 drivers in the house and 2 vehicles, and you're going, that doesn't work. We need to get
Yeah.
the
A
kids a
car.
car, or
Yeah.
we need to get a new family car and move stuff down to them. And he's like, well, here's what you should look for. And he gave me some cars to look for. He's like, stay away from Jeep. Like, just he's like, you'll be in the shop more often, um, and it's just not worth it. So,
Really?
mm,
Marshall tends to disagree. But that's okay. I think actually
no,
I think actually it depends on if you take care of your car or not. That's how I think. I don't know though. I've never Jeep also maintained their value more. Oh, yeah, I don't know anything about this. I just when I'm basically my basis or my genesis
mm,
of this whole thing was if you know you live in or in a state where you're going to get a lot of snow, you got to have some sort of four-wheel drive, and you don't have that, right?
no, I don't.
Yeah. That's always scary. That's always scary
It
and
is
but you know what's funny though? The way that we all are as a society now, you could easily call in for not wanting to drive and quote safety, and you can get away with it.
right,
Yeah,
and that's what my
yeah. Like
that's why
back in
my
the
boss
80s,
told me.
I doubt you could
Yeah,
you
no,
couldn't pull that off.
well,
Yeah,
not even because I 9 years ago when I first left teaching and got an office job where I was at, no, they're like, no, we're open today.
yeah,
Like, you need to come in,
yeah,
and I'm 17 miles away. They would have been like, no, you need to come in.
yeah,
Okay, and so
yeah.
yeah,
Exactly.
it was get up. I mean, my drive that was 20 minutes just turned into like at one point it was an hour and 15, and I
Yeah,
was
see, that's horrible. And Greg, I've taken where I get off the highway to get to your house, and I go down this long, snaky country
yeah,
road. I would be, I would not like to drive through that in a snowstorm.
right.
Like that's a no for me. That's like,
Hmm.
nah, I'm good.
And
Um,
see, I've got multiple ways I could get to my job. Like, I've
okay,
got
that's
multiple
good.
routes I could take, but the gamble is, do I take the interstate? The interstate is usually plowed first, but there's more people. So
Yes,
you like, do I do that gamble, or do I go on the country road, which might not be as clear, but there's less people, but there's more turning to take. So
yes,
it's this weird little game that you got to just flip a coin and kind of pick your path and go with it.
yeah, yeah. Not looking forward to it. You know what I'm also not looking forward to? 50.
You got a year left,
I do
so
have a year left, but I'm rounding myself. I find
yeah,
myself rounding. I'm
you
just like,
do.
yeah, I'm
You've
40,
aged
I'm
yourself.
48 now. I'm 48 now, and I'll be 49 in 20 days.
Yep.
And I'm not looking forward to it. Because Greg, you and I talked about this. Now, I don't know if I've ever told you this, but my wife can verify. I used to be I for as long as I can remember have had fantastic. Actually, over like what's a better word for than fantastic? Like
What
almost
are we talking?
superhero-ish sight. I've
Oh yeah.
I've
Yep.
been so good at that. I could read shit so far away.
Yep.
I could read like if we were on a plane and I'm in an aisle seat, I could read at least I'm not shitting you, eight people, eight rows down to the other aisle. I could read what they were reading.
Yeah.
I was that good. And now Gwen gave me something and I was like, what the fuck? And I had to
Yeah.
back up and look at it. And I can't tell you. Look, if I lose my hair, all right, my eyesight, oh,
Yep.
man,
See, and that
that's
like
such
I
that's a hard like that's a hard
and
one
I
because I feel like God gives you a couple of superhero powers, and one was my eyesight, my flexibility, and they're both fucking leaving me, and I'm
yeah.
just like, oh,
Well, once again, I'm years ahead of you on this one. I had to get my I got Coke bottle glasses in like fifth grade.
did you really?
Um, yeah. Oh yeah.
Like
It was just
Ralphie?
not quite that bad, but well, actually, no, they were that bad. The picture of me in my sixth grade school picture, my mom dressed me up in like this the Miami Vice white
That's
blazer,
right.
black
That's right. You
t-shirt,
shared that picture once.
and I
Yes.
had these giant shop teacher style glasses that mom was like, they were stylish. And I'm like, no, they were cheap. That's what it was. And like yeah, I just had to get the cheap ones.
Yeah.
Um, and then I got contacts in like eighth grade, I think, when I
Okay.
was responsible enough to do the in and out and
Yeah.
take care of them.
So,
So, but I've had like, if I took my contacts out right now, I would barely be able to read the print on my screen, which is
oh,
pretty big.
Okay.
Like it's bad.
Okay. So here's my question to you then.
Hmm.
And maybe Sean out here said also he had to get reading glasses last year. Okay. When you get these reading glasses,
Hmm.
okay, do you go to Walgreens? And if I go to Walgreens, which ones do I get? Do I
You
look for a
try,
certain number
yeah,
or
you try them on until they fit.
so I grab I grab like a book or something or
You could.
or
Now, as far as like, yeah, I know people that have done that. They just go and try to get the readers and they just try them on until they find something that works. You've got you've got vision insurance. Just go to the optometrist, do the test, and they will prescribe you
reading glasses.
yeah, these are what you should wear.
I don't I don't. You know what I don't want, Greg, in my old age? I don't want diapers.
Yeah, I don't want to do that either.
I
Like
don't
that's
want I don't want the little like you get up and you peed a little.
yeah,
I don't want that. I'll take the glasses. I'll take losing
yeah.
hair. I'll take the aches and the pains. I don't want to lose my
You don't want to be incontinent. Yeah.
yeah, I don't want that.
That's rough. Like I've worked in a couple places that have been dependent care facilities, and that is rough. Like
Yeah.
you've got some 19 or 20-year old who's just working this job, and she's got to come in, and it's usually women because that's who they usually hire as caretakers or
Yeah.
service providers.
Yeah.
They come in and they got to clean you up, and yeah, it's
Mhm.
I've talked to people. They're like, it sucks. Like
Oh
it
yeah.
just sucks.
Yeah. Not only that, I look, I get it for better or for worse, and I know my wife doesn't want me to clean up after her as much as I
Much
don't
as
want her to
yeah,
clean up after me. I
right.
would feel horrible.
It's interesting because like my mom is fighting this with her parents, like the one parent who just passed away. They
Yeah.
were working so hard to try to get them into a facility that would provide that kind
Right.
of care. Now, neither one of them were there, or like at the incontinence kind of thing. But they were grandma and grandpa had a vision of what they thought because they were born in the 20s. Um, they had this vision of what it looked like. Is that right? I want to make sure I'm quoting the age as well as I should be. Uh,
By the way, Sean, thank you for keeping us up to date on the Lions.
yeah, appreciate it. 1931.
Okay,
Um,
1931. Wow.
yeah. So, so the idea of what a retirement home or a senior living center
Yeah.
to them, what that looked like was like an asylum. They are
Mm,
not. They are not like that
I
anymore.
get that. I
Like
get that. Yeah.
like there are many places that are nice communities.
Right.
It's almost like it's like elderly dorm life where
Yes. Yes.
you've got your own place, you've got your own it's apartment, but there's still like oh yeah, if it's during the day, I'll just leave my door open and my friends will come over. So
Yeah.
like
Yes.
when you and I are in a retirement community, it's gonna be our doors are open, but we're all playing video games down the hall, or we're meeting in the senior center for a game of D&D or whatever.
Yeah. I've heard of that, by the
Lots
way.
of yeah,
Yes, I've heard that's a problem.
yep, lots of sleeping around in
But
some of
what do
those.
they give a shit at that age? They
Yeah, they're
don't
just like,
care. They don't care.
there's medications for that,
Hey,
right?
what a
Let's
way to
do it.
go. What a way to
Yeah.
go. Um,
So,
yeah.
but to my grandparents, that's not what they look like. So they're really working to try to say, no, these are good facilities. But they're like, you're not putting me in a home. I'm like, I'm glad I don't have that perspective now, and I hope that doesn't change for when
Right.
my kids are like, Dad, you can't like you're forgetting how to take your medications,
Right.
whatever it is.
Yeah.
We just got to put you here. And I'd be like, okay, well, sell my shit and put me
Yeah,
there.
you know what? It's funny you mentioned that because of what transpired this summer with my father.
Mm-hmm.
And what transpired in terms of like moving them out last October of the house that they could
Yeah,
no longer basically do. They could no longer basically maintain that house. They couldn't do
right.
it. Um, I said to Ursula, like, look, if whenever it's time for me to go to a home,
Yeah,
I'm going to do my best not to fight you. Like, I don't want to put that burden on my daughter that she
Right.
has to
I'm
take care.
kind of
I don't want my daughter taking care of me,
right.
basically.
It's weird. I mean, you went this through with your dad too, where they're like, "Hey, Johnny, if there's anything you want, you got to go in and get it,"
Yeah,
And I'm getting texts from my mom of like, because my grandma can't live alone, like
right.
she can't, so they're getting her into a spot, but they have a whole house full of stuff.
Yes,
So, and I'm like, well, I guess you have an estate sale, but they're still like,
yes.
what is it that you want? Like my grandpa he was mayor, he was a cop most of his life. And so my brother, who's a cop, he's like, well, I would like some of that
Yeah,
memorabilia. And I'm
sure.
like, that makes sense.
Yes.
That should be so, but they have his obituary came out, and I was, and maybe Clay's, if he's still on, is was as shocked as I am. Clay still lives in the hometown. So I knew about my cousins, and I knew that my grandpa had great grandchildren that he met. He has 10 great grandchildren. I
Wow,
was
good
like,
for him.
yeah, it's good, but I'm like,
Yeah,
what? Really? There's that many? I don't know whose kids are having kids now. It's been
yeah,
that far along, and I'm like, I don't know. Guess I'll find out on Friday.
yeah. Oh, is that the funeral?
Yeah, it's the gathering, the celebration of life, or whatever they call it. But yeah,
Okay.
we're going down on Friday.
All right. Yeah. Okay, man. You got any Holly Jammery?
You know what? I didn't have anything queued up, but I always pocket a couple songs just for when I am unprepared. I found I found one the other day, and I saved it to the playlist.
All right.
Um, it is well. Let me try this without the music on. I don't think it's this one.
Ooh.
No, maybe I didn't save it.
Oh, you didn't save it? It's okay.
Yeah, maybe we'll just do it next time. But
Yeah, that's fine.
I found this one. It's a genre of metal
Okay.
called smut metal.
Smut metal?
Smut metal,
Hang on, let's look
and
that up.
and
What
I
is
was like, what?
smut metal?
And
Okay.
it is kind of what it sounds like. It's the lyrics are like a cheap romance novel. Um, but
Really?
the music is very metal.
The first thing that pops up on Google is a Reddit post that says, I'm dying. I just discovered smut metal and my life will never be the same. So I'm flipping through TikTok and discover something that really will enhance my reading experience, and I thought I should share. I like heavy metal music best, but I do like most types of music, but I had no idea that smut metal and baby making metal were things. There's baby making metal?
Evidently. Okay,
Ooh.
I did find the TikTok.
Okay.
So
All right.
I will just play that. I don't know who the band is, but yeah, the hashtags are metal music, baby making metal, or baby making music and baby making metal. Um, the song is Medusa by Braeker. Um,
Medusa by Braeker.
yep. And I'll share my whole screen for this one because yeah, that's I'm just gonna show you what I saw.
Sounds great.
And there you
Okay.
go.
Okay. It didn't sound bad at all.
Well, the lyrics you got to take a look at.
Yeah,
So when
I
we're
stare into
alone,
your crown. I
when we're alone, I turn to stone. Obviously, that's
okay, yeah.
an erection. Um, I lose control. Staring at your altar. That's the female, tie me
Hmm.
up and hold me down, make me stare into the crown,
Got it. Yeah.
and
Getting a
then
little hot in here, Greg.
I die drowning in the water. If you're good at what you're doing,
Yeah, that's true.
that's I think that's the thing there. So
I find that Marilyn Manson and Rob Zombie did a cover of, is that
Shelter Skelter
Shelter
by the
Shelter Skelter by the Beatles.
hmm I
Okay.
didn't know that.
What are you drinking there?
Pina colada.
Ah.
I found a recipe online.
And you really dig it?
Yeah, I do. You just buy like pineapple, like a jug of pineapple juice, and I did the
Look,
sugar
pina
free.
coladas are fantastic.
You pour out like a third of the bottle.
Yeah.
You get like the in the alcohol section by the mixers, they have like a coconut. It looks very adult when you
Okay.
pour it, but put a cup of that back into the bottle, and then you top it off with just Bacardi, shake it up, and you've got a
There you go.
really good pina colada.
So I'm doing dry January.
Why?
Uh, you know what? I had trouble sleeping, and I realized the minute I cut alcohol out, I was sleeping good.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Plus I tend to drink a lot in the holidays, and it gets too much for me. But I
Yeah.
found this thing called Athletic Brewing.
Okay. Is it an NA kind of beer or
Yeah,
something?
yeah. But what's crazy is, most of these non-alcoholic beers, they're like 100 or like 95 calories to 100.
Yeah.
Look how much that is.
20, is that 25?
25 calories.
Hmm.
I was shocked by that. I was like I was like, Ursula, look at this. She's like, is that 25 grams of protein? What is that? I'm like, no, no, no. I'm like, no, it's like 25 calories. She's like, okay. I'm like, you can't get this anywhere. She's like, okay.
Tom Holland, Spider-Man. He's coming out with a whole line of NA beer because he's cut
Yes.
alcohol out of his life. Like
Yeah, he cut it out.
he did the Hollywood thing of like made it big. Oops, lots of alcohol. Nope,
Yeah.
need to dry out.
Yep.
I don't know if he went through a program or is an alcoholic by trait or whatever it is, but
Right.
he's not drinking anymore. But he still really likes beer. So
Okay.
he got into a couple of different companies and is supporting them.
Yeah.
Like he invested in some, I
Yes.
guess, top notch NA beers.
Yeah.
That,
So
that
I
taste good.
get the drinking a beer
Mhm.
that's non-alcoholic. I don't get the whiskeys that are non-alcoholic.
Oh, I didn't know they had those.
Yeah, it's called Tribal. Tribal. I think
Hmm.
it's called Tribal. If you look it up, it's Tribal, and they sell a pretty good. I think they sell a vodka, a whiskey, and a rum
Huh.
that is non-alcoholic for if you're dying for a Jack and Coke.
Yeah,
I don't get because I feel like, okay, for someone like me who has an unhealthy relationship with food and calories,
yeah.
like I look at that, I'm wondering why the hell would I add more calories just to get a taste where I don't get a buzz? I don't
Yeah.
understand.
See, I guess that's if I'm having a cocktail, like the alcohol would be the point.
Right.
Um, and I'm not saying that like I need to be drinking to have a good time or anything like
No,
that,
I know, I know.
but the idea of having an ad like I'm okay with mocktails as well. Like if we went to
Yes.
someplace and they're like, well, we don't serve alcohol, but we have some great mocktails. Great, let's do that.
Right.
But adding in something alcohol tasting to make it taste like I don't understand that. But
Yeah, I guess, yeah, I agree with you. See, the one thing I've always loved about a beer was usually after some sort of physical chore,
yeah, it
it,
goes
it
down
tastes
easy.
it. Oh, it's
Yeah.
so fantastic. And
Yeah.
so when I wasn't drinking in the summer, I wanted that feeling like
Hmm.
after some yard work or after something physical, I was like, yeah, give me a beer. And that
I
worked
found
out for
out,
me.
I remember being in college and someone was trying to teach me how to pour a beer
Yeah.
because they're like, oh no, that's way too much foam. You gotta tip it so you don't get as much foam. But what I found
Yes.
is that all that does is it leaves the carbonation in there.
Yes. Yes.
But I didn't like beer for a long time because you get so bloated. And I'm like,
Yes.
no,
That
this
that
isn't
foam
fun.
is important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was, even we went out a couple months ago with some friends we hadn't seen in a while. And he's in the beer business. He works for a
Okay.
distributor. And he has his entire career. And I started pouring a beer. We were at
He's
a
like, what
restaurant.
are you doing?
I kind of tipped. He's like, turn that bottle upside down. He's like, no. He grabbed my hand and kind of like up and he's
Yeah.
like, don't you? It's like you want that foam there. I'm like, oh my god, you're right. I totally forgot. And so I had a really big hit in there. He's like, watch this. He rolled up a napkin and just kind of dipped the napkin in there, and I just watch it dissipate. He's like,
The foam?
yeah, the foam. He's like,
Okay.
all that carbonation just dissipated, and it all settled into liquid. So you didn't lose any beer.
Yeah.
And now it'll be a lot lighter. And he's like the taste profile, like when they manufactured, because I had an import. So when they manufactured that, that's how they expect you to drink it. Like what you were doing, like a beer maker would go, no, you're drinking our beer wrong. Um, but I still know people that will like,
Yeah.
tip the cup
Well,
and
I think that comes a lot from the idea of back in college when you were at the kegger,
oh yeah,
the idea was not to get any foam in there.
yeah, get as much as you can.
Yeah, yeah. So I think they didn't really. I think when you go to college and you drink beer, you think you know how to drink beer.
No,
And
no. And we
and
were
you
drinking
yeah, but what
terrible
I'm
stuff.
saying is I think you think there's nothing else to it. There's no
Right.
science to it. It's just
Right. Yeah, you just don't know.
yeah.
Maybe college kids are more educated now. Although my daughter, she had something, I think it's called Pink Whitney.
Okay.
It's a pre-mixed vodka lemonade. And her and her friend did a shot on New Year's Eve to kind of
Okay.
toast in the New Year's, and they tried
Yeah.
to make a video of themselves. So she takes her shot, and then she's like, "Ugh, oh god," like it was like too much.
Yes.
And I'm like, what did you do it wrong? Because I'm thinking it's a vodka lemonade. Like, how
Yeah.
bad can it be? I think
Yeah.
it's just
Right.
a pre. And so she left it on the counter, and on New Year's Day, I come downstairs
Tried it.
and I just took a pull off the bottle. It was god awful. It was turpentine.
Oh wow.
It was MD 2020 all over again. Just back to the Mad Dog. So I walked over to the sink and I just upended the whole thing and
Yeah.
dumped it out. And she came out. She's like, "Did you jump out on my pink wing?" I'm like, "That stuff was terrible. Like
Yeah.
that was god awful. You do not need to drink that.
No.
Like
Good for you, Dad. Yeah.
like we can train you better than this.
Yes.
This is
Yes.
awful."
You will not disrespect us truly with
Yeah,
drinking that.
no, it was so bad.
Yeah. All right, man. Let's see. Let's close this podcast out. Today is January 5th, so it's birthdays and events day.
Oh,
It's also National Keto Day for all you out there who are trying to lose some pounds. I suggest not doing keto,
yeah,
just
I say
eat
thought that was
cleaner.
bad. Yeah,
Um, National Screenwriters Day. Are
cool.
we is a strike coming up soon? I heard a strike was coming up soon. Is
I
that
haven't heard the
false?
Golden Globes are on right now,
Okay.
so I don't think so.
Oh. National Whipped Cream Day.
Uh-huh.
I I like whipped cream,
I do.
especially after some smut metal or
Smart
before.
metal and whipped
Who
cream.
knows? Yeah. And National Bird Day. Greg, you got a favorite bird?
Not really.
Yeah.
A European starling.
Okay.
Just
I'm
because
I'm
that's the last bird I saw.
very generic, very American. I love bald eagles. I think they're so fucking cool.
Very cool. Um, do
Oh,
you? I get
owls. So
owls are
stealthy.
great.
Owls are
Um,
fantastic.
the bald eagle wasn't officially America's bird until 2023. Like it was unofficial. Like
Oh,
it was just like kind of generally accepted to be American's national bird.
didn't Ben
But
Franklin want the turkey?
he wanted the turkey because he thought the turkey was more representative of our country, in that it's resourceful and was everywhere. But everybody liked the bald eagle. And did you also know the bald eagle, like that sound that they always put with a bald eagle?
That's not what they sound like.
That is not the sound of a bald eagle.
I did not know that, but I
Yeah,
that doesn't surprise me.
that is a
Um,
falcon.
I also I thought the lion that roars, that's not how they actually sound either.
No, no, that's actually a lion's roar for MGM. Yeah.
Yeah. That's an actual lion's
No,
roar?
oh no, no, I'm sorry. It's a tiger roar. A
Okay, that's
lion's
what I
roar
thought. Yeah.
is much shorter and stagnated.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. There we go. You got some extra bonuses.
Did I see the meme with the bald eagle looking for food and trash? No, but that sounds about where our country's at right now. Oop, did I say that?
Oh my goodness.
There's a guy who is he's a puppeteer, but he's like the stand-up comedian, and he's got this bar that comes around and the puppet's got like pink hair. Super funny. I can't remember his name. But he did a whole bit he does like historical facts and then makes comedy out of it
Hmm.
about how the bald eagle was in fact not America's bird until 2023 because no one in Congress bothered to like ratify the whole thing.
That's ridiculous. You know what I used to love doing? Looking up old town laws that are still
Oh
around.
gosh,
Those
yeah,
are fantastic.
yep.
Yeah.
Like in some states, you're not supposed to have your wife ride in the front seat. Like she's supposed to
Yes.
be in the back.
Yes. Yeah. You
Yeah,
can't park your horse by the bank.
yeah.
Shit like
And
that.
yeah, Sean, Randy Feldface is hilarious. He's another puppet comedian who's very good.
All right. You know what I'm doing? I
Hmm.
almost got it close, and I need. Oh, ask your son, the expert on animals. Is it okay to? Because I already looked it up on the internet. It's okay to feed a squirrel nuts, just not salted,
Correct.
right?
Yep.
So and it's getting to the point where that thing's almost taking it out of my hand. And I'm wondering, am I setting a bad precedent? Look, I get the whole idea of he doesn't know how to forage then. He just depends on
Right.
you, which isn't true because literally give him two nuts. I don't give him
Yeah.
handfuls.
Right.
But he's getting to the point where he's coming up onto the back door. He's not afraid of ham. He's just
Okay.
sitting there doing one of these, looking in the house.
Yeah.
And
Waiting
then
for you.
I open the door. He sits there and just looks at me, and he is so damn close of just
Yeah.
taking that right from my hand. And so I'm
Getting there.
developing a relationship with we call him Lumpy.
You're entering your princess era.
What's that?
Well, it's when you can talk to animals.
Oh, is that an age thing too? Is that like a
Maybe you've entered
don't
your
old
Disney.
men sit in the park and feed pigeons or shit like that?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes, I'm getting there.
See, I fed a
How did you
squirrel
know?
in Disney, and my kids were like, "Dad's a Disney princess. Look at him. He's like charming with the animals." I'm like,
Oh, I get it now. Because you always have, yes, they always have the animal sidekicks. Makes
yep.
sense. Yeah. Johnny and Lumpy sitting in a tree. All right.
Nice.
That'll do it, folks. Greg, take us out.
In the new year, don't be a douche.
There you go. For the Greg, this is Johnny saying thank you, take care, have a great week, and we will see you soon. Podcast out.